The anti-Semitic killer who threw Molotov cocktails on Boulder's Pearl Street Mall will spend the rest of his life in prison.
Mohammed Suleiman was sentenced to life in prison today after pleading guilty to dozens of state charges. Last June, he attacked a group gathering to raise awareness of Israeli hostages held by Hamas. One woman, 82-year-old Karen Diamond, was killed. More than a dozen others were injured. In court today, survivors described the fear they felt that day and its lingering impact.
It was difficult watching people of our group literally being burned alive. I remember seeing the medics wheel away a person severely burned. And that memory will never leave my mind.
In Boulder?
Through a translator, Suleiman claimed his attack was not driven by anti-Semitism, but by opposition to the state of Israel. The judge rejected that and handed down the maximum sentence.
9 News reporter Colton Chavez joins us now from Boulder after sitting down tonight with a leader in the Jewish community there. Colton?
Kyle, many of the people that were attacked that day went here to Boneh Shalom Synagogue. And for their rabbi, he was at the courthouse earlier today. And tonight he says he's searching for something that he always searches for: hope.
Look, as a rabbi, I'm always trying to find ways to cultivate hope as much as I can.
For the Jewish community in Boulder, hope can look different for everyone.
Burns can leave scars for life on your body, but emotional assault like that can leave even deeper scars.
Nearly a year after a man threw Molotov cocktails into a crowd of peaceful marchers on Boulder's Pearl Street Mall, justice finally came Thursday.
I mean, it was a very emotionally exhausting and charged day.
For Rabbi Mark Soloway,
yeah, many of the victims were congregants of mine.
A judge sentenced Mohammed Solomon to life without parole, plus more than 2,000 years for the death of Karen Diamond and the injuries of 13 others.
It was an assault on all of our humanity because this person had no idea who any of those people were.
Rabbi Soloway says he found himself once again leaning on hope.
I hope that today he got a sense of who some of those people were, because those were good, just people.
Survivors whose community has been reshaped by this tragedy.
People just love going down to Pearl Street, and for many of us it's become very tarnished by this crime.
Rabbi Soloway knows that for the scars that remain, only time will help them heal.
Probably one step along the path to healing in the sense of people seeing justice done. But I can't say that's going to be a universal thing for everybody, or even that it should be.
For the Jewish community in Boulder, he prays that hope will find people where they're at.
Sometimes you just have to sit with people in the darkness, and sometimes you can hope that out of that darkness can emerge some light.
Solomon still faces federal hate crime charges. That trial is currently scheduled for July. Live in Boulder tonight, Colton Chavez, 9 News.
A federal judge heard arguments today in a lawsuit over the Trump administration's plan to break up NCAR, the world-famous weather lab in Boulder. NCAR is at the forefront of weather science, powering hurricane forecasts, wildfire models, severe storm warnings. UCAR, the nonprofit that manages the lab, sued the federal government in March, argued that the Trump administration skipped the required legal steps when they moved to transfer NCAR's supercomputer center to the University of Wyoming. In court today, UCAR's lawyers argued that the dismantling of NCAR is really about President Trump's campaign to punish Colorado for refusing to release his ally Tina Peters from prison and the way that Colorado conducts mail-in voting. The Department of Justice argued in court today that there was no final decision on transferring the supercomputer, so no required processes could have been skipped. The judge will issue a written decision.
The spring storm is long gone. Now, increasingly warmer weather is helping to melt away anything that's left. 9 News Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin is here with your forecast. There's not even that much to melt, Kathy.
Like it never even happened.
Yeah.
No, it just was a crazy historic snowstorm in May, and it's going to be gone as quick as it came in. We have light winds tonight, a partly cloudy sky, and a few snow flurries in the mountains and a few light rain showers in Denver tonight. But for the most part, we're off and running to a warming and drying trend. So let's talk about the snow, shall we? At the end of May, we like to be at 56.6 inches total. We're 33.1, even with this big storm. storm. Notice in October, not much snow, or November, December and January, 6.5 inches each month. A trace in February. March, we actually did really well. April, couple inches there, and then May, that 5.8 inches, way above the average of 1.7 that we typically see. And now that storm is on its way out. Temperatures on the way up. We're very mild out there right now. Temperatures some 30 degrees milder than this time yesterday. The wind is picking up a little bit, coming in out of the northwest, and maybe a few sprinkles tonight. Not enough to really get too excited, but there is a little bit of moisture we've been tracking on the radar. Not sure it's getting all the way to the ground, but any showers that pass will move quickly, moving from the northwest to the southeast, and it'll just be over the next 2 to 3 hours. You're going to wake up to sunshine tomorrow, and we're looking ahead at a beautiful Friday and weekend. Temperatures above freezing overnight tonight, and at the bus stop coming up, we are talking about a warm weather trend that will last through Mother's Day weekend, and then we're headed for summer, an early preview of summer. Those details are ahead.
A massive cybersecurity attack on America's most widely used classroom software has potentially exposed the personal information of millions of students and educators across the country, including here in Colorado.
9 News anchor Phil Lipoff is here with what we know about what this group that's claiming responsibility.
So, Kim, this is a criminal extortion group. They call themselves Shiny Hunters. They claim to have stolen the personal data of millions of students and educators from Instructure, the company behind the widely used Canvas platform. The company confirms names, email addresses, student ID numbers, and private messages between users had been accessed before this breach was contained. Canvas is used by 41% of higher education institutions across North America and to deliver courses. Millions of K through 12 students rely on it as well. Here in our state, University of Colorado, Metropolitan State University, University of Denver, Colorado State University, and the University of Northern Colorado are all affected by this breach. Those schools have notified faculty, staff, and students. MSU Denver even warning its community to not log on to Canvas, click on any links, or attempt to complete classwork, and to check their email for updates from the professors. This is happening, by the way, during final exams for many people. The sensitivity of Canvas messages compounds the concern here. The platform is used by students to disclose medical and mental health information to academic advisors, among other things. A ransom message was posted on Canvas. It appears to give Instructure until May 12th to respond or negotiate a settlement before hackers leak the information. We should mention just within the last hour or so, Instructure says Canvas is now back usable for most users. Kim?
That's a relief. Thank you. The Denver police officer who shot and injured 2 minors outside a house party in Green Valley Ranch will not be charged. The Denver District Attorney's Office announced that decision today. In early November, the officer responded to the report of a fight at a party on North Biscay Court near East 51st. While he was on the street, the DA's office says he was approached by someone with a badge, gun, and radio claiming to do a sting of some sorts. The officer said he thought he was law enforcement and left. He was called back there an hour later. Soon after, there were gunshots. The DA's office says the person he'd previously encountered fired several of those shots. Investigators say that person ran toward the officer and the officer opened fire, hitting him in the thigh. As the officer fired more shots, he hit another minor in the backside. Both minors were hospitalized. The DA's office says both fired shots that night. They say the officer's use of force was justified because it was in self-defense and in defense of others.
There are drivers questioning the piles of photo radar tickets piling up in Hudson, a town in Weld County. Initially, the chief of police there told our consumer investigator Steve Stager that they put photo radar unit out on County Road 49 for a 3-week period, then removed it. State law says if a municipality is going to install or deploy a new camera system, they have to post notice about it on their website 30 days prior and only issue warnings for the first 30 days the system is out there. As far as our Steve on Your Side team can tell, that didn't happen. At last night's town council meeting, city leaders talked about our coverage of this and said they need to get answers for people.
We wouldn't have Channel 9 News out there if it was nothing. So I really think that we need to be here for the people that are reaching out to us right now to do something about it. I think there's still something that we should be doing with all the tickets that have been issued. I mean, I think it's excessive and people have had to pay a lot of money.
A bill just passed the state Senate that would require municipalities to mail warnings about photo radar cameras during the warning period. That's now working its way through the state House side with a committee hearing tomorrow.
The Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office is investigating a T-bone crash in Centennial that killed a woman last week. It happened at Smoky Hill Road and Telluride Street. That stretch has seen 31 crashes over the past 5 years, several others involving deaths. Some neighbors are now pushing for change, believing there should be some sort of an effort to slow people down.
I would love a street light. I don't think that's gonna happen. Whether it be, even if it's signal saying, hey, you're going this fast, something to help deter drivers from going, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I need to slow down.
The Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office says there's no one reason behind the crashes, but says speed is a factor in many instances. The agency says it's working with the city of Centennial to look at improving safety. There's nothing quite like just waiting around with a big crowd of people, waiting for a train at DIA. Some people say they waited over an hour yesterday because of an outage.
As much as I enjoy your voice and that of Alan Roach, that's too long to wait to hear you.
Way too long to hear us.
Airport leaders say the recent disruptions out there, they think are largely tied to some new train cars. 9 News reporter Ria Jaz along now to explain what's being done about this. Ria?
And some people didn't even get to hear Kim's voice on Wednesday's train outage at DIA. Left long lines, confused travelers, and some passengers even scrambling to make their flights. So I asked them about why it seems like these outages are happening more and more these days.
Here for all A-gates.
At the airport, you're either a traveler who cuts it close,
It was kind of a mess.
or you're like Jennifer Garcia.
I tried to get there about 2 hours early just to allow some time.
And good thing she did.
This is the line all the way down. I don't know how long people have been waiting.
Jennifer says she waited in line for more than an hour because of a train failure at DIA on Wednesday.
The lines backed all the way up towards the gates, the A gates, on both sides.
This is the other side. It goes all the way down to...
DIA said the disruption lasted about 2 hours.
And it was a mess.
Dave Laporte is DIA's chief operating officer. He says this was system outage number 131 in the last 12 months.
It's important to clarify that most of those are only just a minute or two long. But when it does break, it's chaos. We had a lot of issues with the doors. Where the doors weren't closing correctly. That caused some outages. We had some issues with how the new cars responded with our existing software.
DIA reports half of all outages in the past year are due to the rollout of its new 300R train cars, which began in June 2024.
Didn't have the kind of performance that we hoped to have going into that new product.
Dave said Wednesday's outage was a mechanical failure, a new problem they hadn't dealt with before, but said they're learning with every fix because they don't want these disruptions either.
We're working very hard to increase that reliability. It's the reason that we ordered those new 300R cars. It's the reason that we're going into this revitalization program because reliability at an airport especially is paramount.
Despite the disruptions, according to DIA, the system is still more than 99.9% reliable. And after every major system outage like that one on Wednesday, officials say they do an after-action briefing where they go over what went wrong and what went well so that they can do better for next time. Ria Jha, 9 News.